Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to hang out with me a little bit. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about the best bass fishing lures and techniques for the month of June. Because June is a pretty diverse month in terms of how you can catch bass. You can catch them shallow, you can catch them deep, you can catch them suspended. And I've got 5 different lures here, the guys that produce well for me every month of June, along with the techniques. So today I'm going to just show you guys what the baits are here and sort of like describe the situations and the conditions that I like to fish them in. I think it's going to add up to some good fish for you guys. Also, guys, a couple quick housekeeping tips I'd like to cover before we get in here. Just wanted to remind you that SolarBat has got a Get Ready for Father's Day sale on my Signature Series glasses, my RB2s and RB3s. Order a pair right now between now and Father's Day. You can get them at 30% off. And if you had any purchase over $98, you get a free pair of SolarBat safety glasses as a bonus with that. And also, guys, we do have my Fish the Moment Lake Map breakdowns up on the Fish the Moment website. I'll put that link in the description as well, so I really appreciate that. Okay, June is there's a lot of things going on in June. There's a lot of movement of the bass, and the bass are doing a lot of different things based upon the type of lake you're fishing and species of bass and all that type of stuff. You have got what I consider in June 2 very distinct populations of bass. You've got bass that are still pretty shallow, and then you've got bass moving out to their deeper water summer sanctuaries. And I want to cover a little bit of both of those in today's episode. And the thing about the deeper water fish in the month of June is probably the best month of the year, in my opinion, to catch big fish and lots of them offshore. Because after they get done spawning, a lot of those bigger females will group up in schools and they get out on the hard structure areas. And this is the time of year, traditionally, you've heard of like those guys go to Kentucky Lake and catch, 30 bass on 30 casts in a row on some type of a break or drop off. It's just a good time of year to fish. So anyway, let's cover some of the stuff here that I'm talking about here, and we'll sort of go back and forth between deep and shallow. And also, guys, all of the baits that I'm talking about in today's video, I'll link them in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to pick up these 5 lures I'm talking about. Okay, the first one is a walking topwater. Walking topwater, I think probably June is the best month of the year to fish it. This is the Megabass Diamante walking topwater, probably my favorite walking topwater that's made. And what I look for in the month of June, there's 2 different places I do really good on a walking topwater. One is on main lake or secondary points if you have clear water, like water visibility of over 3 feet. And the second one is fishing it parallel to bluff banks. Now, I have caught a ton of bass in June doing this, and this is primary technique for the cleaner water situation. I like, again, at least 3 foot of visibility, preferred even cleaner than that. Both of these techniques are highly dependent upon the light intensity that you have. You got to have shade or low light conditions for these things to really excel. I like to get on those bluff banks early in the morning where the shade's still coming off the bank and throw that bait parallel to those bluff banks, work it down that shady area. And then on the points, the same way. Early in the morning, late in the evening, low light conditions, all that type of stuff is going to be a really good time to fish it. The best conditions would be some type of a calm, light wind day with rain or clouds is ideal. But guys, especially if you have a lake that has a lot of spotted bass in it. Spotted bass love a walking topwater in the month of June. And also, guys, it's a really good bait to catch schooling fish, because a lot of times on those points, those fish will school out off the end of those points. Walking topwater is a really good bait to catch them on. Okay, the second with that, let's talk a little bit about it. Sort of on the same type of structures is a deep diving crankbait. If you could give me one technique to catch fish on in the month of June, it would be deep cranking. I probably caught more 20-pound bags of fish in the month of June than any other time of the year on a deep diving crankbait and on just 20-pound bags. So hold on one second, guys. I got to take care of something. Okay, guys, sorry about that. We're back here. But anyway, out of all the 20-pound bags of bass I've caught in my career, I bet probably half of all the 20-pound bags that I've ever caught have been on a deep diving crankbait in the month of June. Now, the 2 baits that I like is the old school Norman DD22. This is just a cheaply made crankbait. Guys, bass love this DD22 in the month of June. If you could give me like one crankbait above all, it would be the DD22, followed up closely by this Megabass Deep 6. Now, when I'm deep cranking, I've got both of these tied on. I'll usually start out with the DD22 because it's got a little bit more aggressive wide wobble. It's a little bit bigger profile. And the Deep 6 is more of a tighter wobble. It's got a little bit more of a finessey presentation. So I'll pick up the aggressive fish with the DD22 and come back in with the Deep 6 for a little bit more reluctant fish. Both of these deep diving crankbaits, one of the big keys with it is you got to use a fast stop and go retrieve. So I'll throw it out there, point that rod tip right at the bait, and I'll burn it fast, stop and go. I'll crank it 3 or 4 times, stop it, 3 or 4 times, stop it. And that reaction strike of that bait just, bouncing and deflecting off the bottom is what, gets them to hit this thing. And you got to have this thing digging on the bottom. So depending upon the structure that you're fishing, make sure that you have the appropriate casting distance and line size with it. Most of the time I use 12 to 15 pound test Seaguar and Vizex line with both of these crankbaits. And I think the magic zone in the month of June is that sort of that 7 to 15 foot range. It seems like if you can find a break or drop off or ledge into 7 to 15 feet, those deep diving crankbaits with that stop and go retrieve definitely catch you some big fish. Now, in those same areas, guys, once you catch some fish on a crankbait and they stop biting it, come back in it with this. Another one of my favorite, guys, is the big worm. This is a Zoom Old Monster or the Old Monster Magnum, either one. I Texas rig it on a 5/16 ounce sinker, and the same type of deal. I just throw it out there on those drop-offs, breaks, ledges, same places I'm fishing the deep diving crankbait. They work in the exact same place. And another thing, this is a really good flipping and pitching bait in the month of June. Pitching it, flipping it around flooded cover, lay down trees, logs, docks, but they love a big worm in the month of June also with that. Okay, the next one, guys, is probably one a lot of you guys haven't fished. It's a sub 1 foot crankbait. This is the Storm Subwort here. And there's a bunch of them in here. Like I said, I'll put that link in the description in the Tackle Warehouse for the one shallower than 1 foot crankbaits. But these are super shallow running crankbaits here that run less than a foot deep. And I like to fish them just barely into the surface. So I'll throw them out there, keep my rod tip at about a 10 o'clock position, and just get them just going under the surface. These are killers in the month of June when those fish are really, really shallow. So you need to have off-colored water, you need to have water visibility of less than about 1.5 feet, and fish it around whatever shallow cover that you have. Shallow grass, shallow rocks, shallow wood. It probably works a little bit better on cloudy days. But guys, I have mopped them up on this thing in the month of June, especially if you can find shallow lay-down wood, like lay-down logs in the trees that are shallow, or the edge of grass beds, something like that. But a little subsurface, one man's one, baby one minus, something like that. Super fun. Not only it's productive, but it's super fun because I like to fish them that far into the water, almost like it's putting up a little boil. The water's boiling underneath them, and those fish will come up and hit it just like a topwater. But this is a super fun bait to fish. And finally, the last one, guys, is just the old school black and blue jig. This is my Blaukat Throwback jig, black and blue color, living rubber, hand-tied skirt. Again, this will be linked in the description of the video. They love just an old school full-size jig in the month of June. Concentrate this sucker on dirty water. If you've got water visibility that's less than, say, 15 inches in clarity, a lot of you guys may or may not have that type of clarity, but if you have some dirty water, shallow cover, it could be flooded cover, it could be logs, laydowns, grass, or whatever, lily pads. It's a great color and a great jig for flipping lily pads, but just the old school black and blue jig is just a great June lure. They love it in June, probably better than any other month of the year. So anyway, guys, that's just 5 of my favorite June lures and the techniques, the way I fish them. I've caught a ton of fish on everything I just showed you there, and hope it helps you guys out. We'll talk later.